So here is why, and this vlog is 3 days later. So this is March 21st, and so you can start to see how he's really settling in. I've been using positive reinforcements to help with the bit, which I always like to use. So one of my favorite tools is the Buckeye treats, because they are really thin, little, but the horses seem to really like them, and I use the apple flavor. So again, I like to have my hand up over his pole, and you can see how much better, and he's softened, and he doesn't mind me moving his ears around now. So really pleased with the progression in putting on his bridle and the relaxation that he likes. And so then I give him another cookie, and we tack up, and then we go. So for this video, I actually had a filming problem where I wasn't able to get the groundwork that I had done, but still it stayed with the consistent groundwork before I got on. And now I'm doing the sitting and wait and rub. Especially with these guys in the beginning, consistency is really a good part of the training tool. You can see he's pretty relaxed. And then I'm going to ask him to go forward. And you'll see his head shaking. The bugs were out too. And sometimes he does that, and that's kind of like his resistance a little bit, is to do a little bit of head shake. But I just tend to ignore that stuff. Making sure I stay nice and soft and consistent with my cues. And again, I think it's really important to start off by doing a fair amount of walk work in the beginning. And he's nice and relaxed, and he's got a nice loop in the rein. I'm going to start adding a little pressure onto the bit. Again, with using my leg to turn, and then I asked him to stop. So this day I'm going to kind of up a little bit in some more of the transition work. You see me asking him to back. He gave me one step. I technically could have released then, but I asked for just a little bit more. Especially in the beginning when you're teaching a horse to back, which I had already gone through this process a little bit more with him. You want to release the minute they even soften and think about backing, and then you build up on that. So this is in fact a progression from what he's already been doing. So now I'm doing a little bit of work to the right. You can see he's softening to the bit, going into a frame on his own, really. I'm just asking him to give a little bit of softness to the bit as I ask him to turn. And the weight in my hands is about the weight of holding an egg. So that's the amount of pressure that I have on the rein. And then when he softens and lightens, I can release that. So that is contact that we look for when we are doing dressage. You don't want to have a horse super heavy. You don't want them like a brick, but you want them about kind of just the weight of holding an egg. And it also goes to the opposite. You don't want a horse that's empty in your hand. So we want to make the contact feel nice. So as we're going around, anytime he kind of speeds up, you'll see I'll sit so I can make sure I stay behind him. Keeping a loose contact, especially in the beginning, and letting him figure out the softness in his balance. Every now and then I'll do like a little half halt for him. So half halt meaning it's a half of a halt. So I'll do a pressure on the outside rein to make him think like we're going to stop, but then we don't stop. It's just a rebalancing aid. Again, working on my right circle, and he's starting to frame up, which is nice. And then changing direction. And still working on, every now and then he likes to bulge or drift one way or the other. And that's really using your legs and rebalancing as well. And then he did really good there. He actually caught me a smidge off guard because I said, whoa, and he stopped. I had to catch my body to make sure I didn't fall forward. So I like to teach my horses, especially when they're willing to kind of stop like that, I think it's really important to have that on a cue. And I find in the beginning when I have a horse that's a little bit more willing to stop than go, that's when I will really kind of reward them for the stop. So then I can go through and teach them the other things. But I much prefer to have a stop from the beginning versus no stop. And he's feeling really nice going forward. And another thing I like to do is, again, do all my transitions in one spot, especially in the beginning, so they helps them understand. And then as we kind of move through the process, I'll start to add those transitions kind of throughout the circle. But again, changing directions, really using my eyes to kind of tell my horse where I want to go is important as well. When you move your head, turn your body, that's changing the position of your seat bones as well. So your horse can start to follow your eyes. I'm practicing with some sitting trot, and then I just relaxed my energy to get a down transition to the walk. So again, he doesn't think any time that my energy completely drops that it means to stop. So this is what I'm playing with a little bit of transition work here. And again, he's staying in a nice frame, nice loose contact. Now I'm going to ask for the canter. Took a couple of strides to get it. And then he kind of lost his balance some, so not a big deal. I'm just going to go back to our trot, and then I'm going to ask in the same spot. That time it took 2 strides to get it, which was really nice. I gotta make sure I keep my leg on him, as he's a little bit more of a kick ride, which I prefer. So I stay behind, make sure my hips are swinging, keep my legs wrapped around him. And I told him to trot. You could see he was thinking about stopping, but I wanted to work on the transitions. And because I've done my groundwork of teaching him the 2 clicks is the trot, the kiss is the canter, and then the word trot means trot, and then ho means stop, has helped me kind of bridge the gap a little bit. And so now tracking to the left, this lead is harder for him, and that's pretty typical with the young horses. They tend to have one side stronger than the other. So for him, his right lead is a little bit stronger than the left lead. So it's okay. The first couple of times I tried to ask, I just got a little bit faster trot. So then I just go back to regular trot, and then I'm going to ask again. And still fast trot. So then I have to go back to regular trot. Then I'm going to ask again. And I at least got a canter, but it's the wrong lead, but that's okay. And you go back to trot. And kind of the thing is that I'm going to keep asking in the same spot, and then boom, I was able to get the correct lead. And so now I'm going to stay back and just let him keep cantering. That's a pretty good circle. I'm going to see if I can get 2 circles. I'm going to stay behind and keep squeezing, giving them little bumps. Then I'm going to ask to trot and then hoe. I was really pleased with that. And again, it just takes a little bit more of a process to get the correct lead. And then here I just kind of working on letting him hang out for a little bit. And then I'm going to work on just following the bit and getting a little softness. And so anytime he goes to follow the bit, I'm going to soften. That was really nice right there. Again, he's a little stiffer on the left than the right, but that should improve with the work that we're doing. And it's pretty typical for them to chew, especially when they're kind of working through some of the process. And anytime I feel him soften, I'm going to give. So that was a nice little exercise. So now I'm going to get off, give him a rub, and then he also can be a little funny about me getting off on the opposite side. So I like to practice that too, just so he can see me on the right side getting on and off. And that was a good place to finish up. I was really pleased with that work for today. It's important how not only to put on a bridle, but then to take it off. You never want to just pull it off their face. You want to give them the time to take it off. And then he gets a good little rub because he likes that. So he's a good boy.